Hi, we're going to walk you through installing the Palloys Mesh Examiner, a few test scenarios, and then how to analyze the colors that it's going to give you. So first of all, you would have downloaded it from the Palloys website, and it will drop this installer on your computer. Just run the installer. Let's go next and install it. And you can uninstall it the standard way you uninstall stuff in Windows. You can just use the uninstaller. It'll drop an icon on your desktop like this, the Palloys Mesh Verifier. Double click that to run it. It'll fire up the interface for you. The interface will allow you to drag and drop files into it. It will also allow you to file open. My preferred method is to drag and drop. So we've got a couple of files over there. We're assuming that the majority of people using this are going to be the kind of customers who've got outside CAD drawers and they just like to analyze the files themselves. So you can drag and drop a file directly into the interface as so. It'll process it. It will look for thin walls. So 0.9% of this model has thin walls. It has thin cavities at 3%, which is a problem. That's little areas over here, and overhang area at 5.5%. So let's first walk about how we use the interface. If you right click in the main window, you're able to rotate your component and have a look at it. All right. If you middle click, you can pan it around. And if it ever got lost, you can just use the little button, reset viewport. All right. If you want to see your model without all the colors on it and you're just looking at the model, you can double click the toggle colors button and it will remove the coloring for you and you can toggle to turn it back on. Okay. You'll notice that along with working out your potential issues with this model, it's also weighted for you in the default material. You can scroll through our materials. These materials are SG accurate. In other words, these are the actual materials we use at Palloys for weight. So this should give you an idea more or less what you should be expecting from the model. There is a color legend, which will take you through what each of the colors on the model mean, but I'll take you through that in a minute. So first of all, blue is going to be your overhang area. So if you're insisting to have this done in resin, it means everywhere where there's blue, you're going to have to put support points. So all those little pin pricks all over the model, you're going to have them under there in blue. And in the case of this model, it's a very interesting one. You're going to have to get pin pricks underneath this part of the bezel coming down to the shank to be able to get that head to grow, which would be very difficult potentially for customers to clean up under there because you've got to try to get a saw blade in there. So that's what the blue is trying to warn you about. Everywhere where there's blue, we're probably going to have to add supports in resin. And so if you've got a lot of blue, I would have normally said anything over 5%, you should probably consider doing this in wax. Otherwise, you may have a lot of work to clean up. All right. Dark red, you're not seeing a lot of over here. Dark red is indicating that you have very thin walls. So you can see inside here, you've got a dark red and a light red. Light red means that these gaps are too narrow, and dark red means that wall thickness is too thin. So the both of them combined in this case, it means that probably very likely this engraving in the shank is going to break away. It's going to wash away, and those little pieces of casting going to fly around, causing issues. All right. So if we examine another model, let me grab the head over here. We pop it in, and as quick as that, you can have a look at it. So this head has an insane amount of supporting. So if you grow it in this direction, basically, if you look at the amount of overhang, again, over 5%, I would consider doing this in wax or alter the model to break it up into 3 different pieces so that as a percentage of the model, there's less of that area. You're not seeing a lot of dark red here because there's not a lot of thin sections underneath what we would call minimum thickness required for casting, but there is a lot of red. All right, so in this model, because you've got very thin fissures coming down here, there is a probability of breakaway in those areas. You can also see that for this model, you're going to need some supporting underneath the collet over here. You can see some blue areas in there. All right. Let's examine another model. In this model, again, you can see there's an excessive amount of overhang. There's going to be a lot of supporting required over here. And again, it depends on the jewelers and who's cleaning it up for you. If there's a lot of little pinpricks over here, does it really matter? You're going to put a half-round file in there anyway. So probably you'd be okay. But it puts the power in your hands to be able to do this. All right, so thin fissures in this model is a big problem. So thin fissures is these little gaps through here. Now, we've tested this model a few times, and 100% it will break away in those areas. Same thing in the little holes in the bottom of the model. You can see over here, you've got very thin holes, and probably a strong likelihood that you're going to have breakaway. All right, so that's how it's intended to be used. There's a few utilities over here. In platinum, you want to increase the overhang angle area, and you want to increase your minimum thickness, because platinum's a far hotter metal. It's far more difficult to cast. But most of the time, you probably want to just leave those on defaults. There are some utility callouts. When you click this, it'll take you through to our Palloys chains. The second item over here will take you through to our refining services, and the third item will take you through to our laser cutting services, because it's semi-related to CAM. Okay, guys, I hope that was interesting. Thank you.